Good morning, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from Mason Works Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone with my dear friend and sister from another mother. Somehow your audio is muted. Good. Denise Chadwick. Hi, Denise.
Hi, Kathy. How are you?
I'm so excited to be with you today. I couldn't wait to get this all together because I have so much fun with you. I love your energy and I love the way that you are playing with the energy right now. I mean, we're all clearing gunk. There's just every other second, there's something to clear. How is that possible after all these years of doing this work? But anyway, you and I both have been doing a lot of work. And how do you see this time right now? I mean, your energy field, you can really see you're really expanded compared to 2 years ago. I mean, so how do you see this time?
That's really nice to hear after all the work as well. It's like, oh, good. There is some benefit from doing it all. It's just incredible times, really, at the moment. The energy is just off the charts. On solstice night, trying to get to sleep, it was like energy that I've never felt before. It was so ridiculously strong.
Yeah.
It was almost like I was getting electric shocks. It was that strong. And it felt like I kind of said to the universe, okay, this feels like a good time. I'll release any pain. You know, I'm open to this process. Let's just get on with it, kind of thing. And then I kind of retracted a little bit, maybe because the pain was so intense. I had pains, like weird sensations in my body, and pains like I've never felt before. And it was almost like electric shocks. And it was really quite hard to get to sleep because everything was buzzing. And I think a lot of us have been finding this. It's like your whole body's vibrating. But even just saying that like that just doesn't even touch it. It doesn't even describe how it's been. And it really does feel like there is so much energy coming in at the moment. And I thought maybe it might, ease off a little bit after solstice. It doesn't appear like it has at all. But I certainly felt in the lead up to solstice, like was it maybe from the 11/11? It felt like we were on a massive purge. And again, just really being supported that the energies were super strong just to help us shift more and more and more. And it is way easier to shift things as well. It is way easier to clear and shed things. But it doesn't really feel like it's let up any since then.
So I have a question because this was asked of me this morning. So what we're doing, you and I have been doing a lot of energy work where we're very highly sensitive and we feel it in our physical body. And some of the work that we've been doing actually peels off layers that we didn't even know. It was like I had a scuba diving wetsuit on and I'm peeling off part of it. And I had no idea it was even there. I knew I was running scripts, but I didn't physically feel it, like the liberation of clearing that. But those are those thought forms? Is that someone asked me that this morning because they really follow Abraham Hicks, and they were saying, well, if you don't replace the thought, and it was like, I think I did replace the thought, but I was so shocked. But it's visceral. Do you agree with that? To me, I feel lighter. I feel taller, which I'm not.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think it's probably not just thought forms. I think it's thought forms, it's belief, beliefs, its programs, and its emotions as well. You know, it's any situations that we're still hanging on to. It's anything across lifetimes, and it's in our DNA. Like, it's not just our stuff that we're clearing. You'd kind of think, you know, maybe after 20 years of doing this pretty solidly, that we might have cleared what's happened in the years leading up to that. But of course, it's everything that's in the DNA as well. And people talk about 7 generations back and forward. I don't think it's just 7 generations. Like, I don't think it just stops there. I think it's anything in those strands of DNA.
Right.
And of course, it's collective too. And I was chuckling the other day because, you know, sometimes you do hear people saying, right, I'm done with doing it. And I've said this, I've definitely said this myself, like, I'm done with doing the collective stuff. Can I not just do mine now? And what I got the other day was, the only way you can stop doing the collective stuff is to stop doing it, because we're not separate from everybody. We're
Right.
so linked. You know, we are all one. So if you're doing work on yourself, it inevitably is for the collective.
Right. Perfect. Well, I'm so surprised though how much is showing up. I mean, every day right now, the energies are allowing us to release thoughts and feelings that I don't know where we took them on, but honestly, I mean, I had a white light experience 17 years ago. And so every morning I wake up remembering that, wanting to hold more light from that. But I had no idea I had all these obscurations, shadow work, whatever you want to call it, that was in my DNA, in my essence, that was keeping me from holding light. Like when you say, oh, I want something, and then, oh, it's going to be an interesting ride. What I'm grateful for is that we're still able to function somewhat well, as much as ever. Um,
Yeah,
right?
it's interesting. Like, I think back to my nursing days, and I would just be absolutely useless in that field now. You know, I've no memory. It was hard enough before. Like, you'd go home at the end of a late shift, and you'd remember all the things that you'd forgotten to pass on, you know, to the night shift
Oh,
coming on. And you know, sleep was always quite difficult, but I just wouldn't stand a chance now. Like, I can't be that organized. I can't necessarily do however many things at once. It depends what it is. But yeah, I hear you on the functioning. The only way that I seem to be able to function at the moment is to take a lot of time, like many days, where I'm just going inward and working on myself and going into meditation and, you know, releasing pain from my body, whatever it is, just going in. And that is my way of keeping going.
yeah.
And it's like I used to have like one clear day a week. You know, say 5 years ago, I'd have one, maybe 2 clear days a week where I just focused inward. It's the opposite way around. It's like, and I try and do things on the same day. So if I've got shows, I try and, like, you know, keep them on the same day. So I've got many clear days to kind of, yeah, just get in there and do the work. And I haven't even really been that creative recently. It's even that has been put to one side. Like, I
Oh,
had a lot of neck stiffness, and since I got back from Glastonbury the last time,
uh-huh.
I do see a chiropractor every 6 weeks or so, and before I went to Glastonbury, my neck had improved a lot, and actually got some cracks on my right side, which I haven't done for ages. And I was thinking, oh yay, I'm on the path. It's starting to improve.
Uh-huh.
And then, yeah, as soon as I've had any sessions since I've come back, it's like, mm-mm. But what I feel was going on there, because I felt a lot of pressure around here, and, you know, on this
Right.
ridge. And it feels, and it's interesting because other people have been saying this, it's felt like gateways have been opening. It's
Right.
felt like a lot of pressure. And that was like a message to me to kind of get in and open those gateways.
Mm-hmm.
And on Love Speaks Love last week, I had Sifu Boggy, Marty McNichol, and Joe Delaney.
Oh my
And we
gosh.
did a huge activation at the end. And pretty much instantly, or certainly within a few hours, I noticed that there was a lot less pressure at the back of my head.
Wonderful.
Where in my bedroom, because it's the street light is outside and it's quite bright, I hang up things over my curtains to make it darker so it doesn't come across the top. So, you know, I'm kind of walking along like this and my head's up, and often at the end I'm like, oh, okay, I'll have to use my hands to move my head down. But I noticed that night, I was like, oh, I can do it myself. And you know, that was the first time for ages that I'd been in that position. So it was on almost instantaneous relief of pressure. And I was very aware of octahedrons here as well during this activation. It felt like this was part of our crystalline light body that was coming online. And that feels a lot of what this is. It's like our crystalline light body is ready in so many ways, but we're just holding stuff in those places that, you know, as soon as we let those go, again, more stuff letting go, that something else can come online, or more of our crystalline light body, because it's here, but it's like not all of it's online. It's like the templates are there, or sometimes we activate the templates. But when we release stuff, more of it can come online. And through that, more of who we truly are, like our soul, our higher self, however you want to phrase it, can come into the body. Because it's not really about us going up there. It's about up there coming down.
Exactly. Exactly. And being the light that you are, that's why you do the show Love Speaks Love, is that somehow you and I both got the memo from the field. I don't want to say above, just from the field.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden we decided, okay, well, I'm going to act on it, rather than a lot of times you get a memo. And that's kind of the people I work with a lot, or the people that go, okay, I'll do it. I don't know where it leads, but I'll do it. I'll try it. I have nothing to lose to try it, right? And that's where we are right now, is that there's so many people realizing that they're the only thing that's holding themselves back, and that to find the resonance of the right teacher, the right guide, the right processes to help them open up to their really being the co-creator with infinite intelligence. Because up until now, we've been like baby stepping it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and you kind of find that your decisions are made from that place. Like, you know, we try and make our decisions from our heart, which is that place. Like that's where we're anchored in, like heart and higher heart. But it does almost kind of become that you can't not work from that place. You can't not, you know, work from divine intelligence.
Right. Well, the perspective, once you get to what we've been doing, is we're both working on collapsing the thought paradigms and the emotions that held us into 3D in every level, and working on bringing 5D and the light and love from that, so into this arena to make it usable. And so a lot of this is experimentation of, oh, that didn't feel good. Oh, that does feel good. Or saying things, standing in your truth without insulting, or being kind, but realizing that everyone's story is their higher self soul's creation, and it's not for us to judge. That's been a big one for me. You too?
Yeah, and people are where they are. They may not be where we'd like them to be, but that's nothing to do with us, really. We
Exactly.
can only be where we'd like to be ourselves, and even in that, we're not always there.
Right.
But yeah, I hear you, and again, that's where the heart comes in. It's about speaking from the heart, speaking our truth. But can we speak our truth from the heart, which can be a bit less blunt, a bit softer?
Should be.
Yeah, but also not holding back. But sometimes it is about holding back. I my throat chakra was traditionally for myself. It was an area that I worked on for a long time. It was speaking up for myself. It linked to solar plexus as well, and being in that power space and self-worth. But often when we've had throat stuff where we've always held back on our words, we then almost think, I have to not hold back on my words ever and always say what I think. But that's not necessarily very heart-based.
Right.
It is to me about speaking our truth with love, but also knowing when it's right to hold back and not say anything. I don't really feel it's my place to call people on things, because I feel that they're acting or saying or being in a particular way. It's not really anything to do with me. I mean, it depends on the circumstance, but I don't always, yeah. But if you're really holding those words inside you, it's about finding the release, which is probably not at the person, but still allowing those words to come out.
It's the gift of you. So okay, so once your throat chakra, which I'm still working on mine too, believe it or not, you guys, you think I talk a lot. But it's being the observer, and then seeing there's nothing in your field that isn't a gift for you. And then recognizing and maybe unpacking the gift at the moment or unpacking it later. So those things that you never as a child or even as a young adult would ever have spoken about, now somehow you could say, I feel this way or that way, rather than project you did.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, definitely. And even within those judgments, like I think often, first of all, it's recognizing that you're holding judgment about a person, a situation, or whatever, and going, oh, okay, and being gentle with yourself in that. And one of the first places to look at is this an aspect of myself that I've not accepted? Is this part of my shadow work, or whatever word we call it? But I think even more than that, it's about, can I love myself as this or that? Can I love that person as this or that? So many opportunities are giving us a chance to love more deeply. And acceptance too, unconditional acceptance. That's a hard one, which is very linked to unconditional love. But the unconditional acceptance, can I still accept that person? Can I still love that person? But most importantly, can I love me? Can I love the person that's judging?
Of course. Well, it's all because how can you fully love if you don't love yourself? So I think this is a lot of, and it's not selfish, it's service to others also, by learning to love yourself. And learning to honor and appreciate everything.
Yeah, it's a big journey, the self-love journey, and it's got so many facets to it as well. And that's been a real journey for me, because I was very hard on myself. I was very mean to myself. I think maybe we talked about this before when I've been on. It came up in a reading with a friend, and like the fairies were coming through, and the fairies were saying, "You're really mean to yourself." And I was like, "I'm not mean enough." You know, I really like, I used to really give myself a hard time. But it's, you know, that's a long time ago. That's many, many years ago.
Yeah.
But it's a journey of self-love in all ways. You know, when you shower, are you disapproving of your body?
Right.
Or can you, as you're showering, can you love your body? Can you love every part of your body?
Exactly.
And of course, as we start to get older, we might feel like we're getting there in our 40s, and then we get to our 50s, and it's like, oh, okay, there's more to this now. Like, my body's changing. I'm seeing different things in the mirror. Can I still maintain that self-love?
Yeah. And it's all perfect. That's the other part. Okay, so I want to go and change it from not so serious to more fun, where you are an incredible conduit for love energy through your art, through your light language, and through your being. Could you talk about what you're seeing as fun coming up, or the journey to joy? Or because I really see that as part of you, is that you're kind of the guide to fun. You don't maybe know that. but because you're not taking this all as a mission, you're very light-hearted and willing to participate with others. You're not egoic. You're really seeing like, okay, what are we doing today, kind of thing. Could you talk about that? Because I think that is such a wonderful thing for the audience to know they can do as well.
Interesting. I haven't really thought about that. Let me just feel into that. And I think you're right. You know, to me, the journey is, it doesn't have to be so serious.
Right.
And I do laugh at myself a lot.
Me too.
A lot. Like, yeah, and it's one of the ways of loving yourself as well, to kind of be more gentle with yourself. And when I do things, I do think it's really funny. And I have developed that humor of kind of laughing at myself. And it's not necessarily easy while the world around us is really going through some chaos and you know, all the rest of it. And it's not that you're not acknowledging that, but you can still hold a lightness within yourself. And I guess some of it for me, you know, my life wasn't always like this. My life was really quite hard. I was in despair for a lot of years.
Yeah.
So sometimes when you've been through that, and you've been through the dark night of the soul, it does bring a lightness to your world afterwards. And even though, and a lot of us are feeling really excited, even though things might appear so crazy, I don't get bogged down so much by things. That's not to say I don't get affected by things. You know, of course I do.
Mm-hmm.
But I will also allow myself to feel them and not pretend that it's not there.
Right.
But there are times where it is difficult now. But that's part of the challenge. Can we still maintain a lightness while it feels so heavy around us? Can we still be a bit of a bridge for the love and for the joy?
Exactly.
And I don't see it as letting up that quickly. I think we've still got some of this journey ahead of us that a lot of people could see as being heavy.
Yes.
But it doesn't have to weigh on us. But perhaps we have to do the work to shed the weight,
Well,
you know?
What I'm feeling is that for what I was excited to have you on for is that I feel lots of people are going to wake up and they're going to need someone's hand to hold as they go on this journey. And I see you as a light bringer that can show them that it's worth it. Number one, it's the journey's worth it, because this isn't for the faint at heart. I mean, we stood in line to get these bodies to be here right now to make a choice to ascend, to ascend embodied. And your art and your light language and your teachings and your love speaks love, all of that is a path so they could follow and make baby steps, maybe at first, but see what the beauty and the benefit is of taking the journey. And that's why I was so excited to have you on again, is that I see you as a way shower, as a way for people to see, oh, well, she did it, I can do it too. And what you're resonating at is almost like holding a flashlight in the darkness, or a torch, or whatever you want to call a lighthouse in the darkness, that, hey, we're still here, it's still possible. We don't have to, just because things are changing, this is a time of change. There'll be change for next 2 years, 3 years. There'll be big changes, and to not be afraid, to be excited.
Yeah. Yeah. And to, I do spend quite a lot of time in different ways releasing the stuff. Have a good dance around the house and just really feel it. I'm not afraid to feel it, and I'm not afraid to, and I even filmed myself doing this one time. Like, there was a light language activation, because some of them are really fierce, and some of them, there's anger in there that needs to come out, and it won't necessarily be, I've got this situation going on that's making me feel angry. You don't always know why, but you can just feel the heavier emotions in you. So, and those are normally the ones that you want to do privately, that you don't want to do publicly. But this one, I didn't do it as a live, but I did film myself doing it and posted it, because, and it got a lot of supportive response as well, because a lot of people were like, I know that, I've done that. And it's, it is just, it's just another way to kind of let things come through. And I would rather do it, if I can, privately, although sometimes I'm out in nature. But if you can feel it bubbling up, and I think all of us have felt this, like the last few days for me, there's been a lot of solar plexus stuff, almost, like heartburn, that kind of stuff. Like, there's so much fire in there that needs to come out. So if I'm feeling that, then I'll take time to let it out. And it doesn't always take that long either.
Right.
Because I really get into it, and I really put the effort in. So I might stamp my feet, I might be like a child having a tantrum, whatever it takes, really. And then I probably laugh a lot, because it's really funny. I remember one time in Australia where I was in a house, and it was a share house, so it's not always that easy to let your stuff out when you know that you can be heard. So I was kind of like pillow bashing. It's an old cliche, but it's an amazing way to do it. It
works great.
Yeah. And I was doing it from on high almost. The pillow was down there, and like this, and then you know, my hair was all coming down, and I caught myself in the mirror and I just looked absolutely crazy, which made me laugh.
Of
You know,
course.
so humor and laughing is such an incredible way of letting things out. And, you know, going for a walk in nature, how often when we're just feeling a bit off, and then we go with the trees, and before we know it, even if we haven't stomped our feet as we've been walking, or, you know, when it's autumn, like kicking the leaves as you walk through.
Yes.
And this is part of the joy, and I think part of the stuff that you were talking about. I don't really mind. I'll maybe have a little look round. I maybe won't do it if someone's walking towards me, but if there's no one there, I'll do it. And if I get caught, you could just be like, oh, you know.
That's like me hugging the trees. I mean, and I don't, after a while, I don't care if someone sees me because I'm a tree hugger.
Yeah,
But it's the same thing as nature is. Nature shows the essence of stillness and grace. It's been our guide all along. We kind of forgot that it's available at any point. And the other thing I'd like to bring up is breath. The
yes,
thing that I'm finding is the release. A lot of times I'm like breathing it out. And when you're out in nature and you get that fresh air, your brain can work better. Everything. So Robin Nicole's on. Let's see. She says she finds when she goes for a swim when I'm at the point of no return. Always turns it on its head. This year's been really difficult for me, and I've experienced huge loss. Gratitude will always bring you back to center. Thank you, Robin.
yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah,
And it,
she's a magical being. My goodness.
and it's thank you for bringing gratitude in as well, Robin. Like, it's such an amazing way to start your day, you know, because sometimes we get into those conversations in our head, and imaginary conversations, and we start reacting to the imaginary conversations as if they've happened, and they haven't. They're just in our heads. um, but it's so key how you are within your first few minutes of waking up. So if we can remember to think of some things that we're grateful for, even
Yeah.
putting notes in your room opposite the bed of
Yeah.
today I am grateful for, and, you know, give yourself 3 things. Or
Yeah.
if you're struggling, try and find some more. It's such a beautiful way to start the day. And breath work, I've been doing a lot of breath work since I got back from Glastonbury. I haven't done any yet today, but I've been doing Wim Hof's
Wow.
breathing for like more than 40 days. I've been doing it most days,
Wow.
and I can feel huge expansion of my lungs too. So when I'm going out walking, if I'm going up the hills, even if I haven't been for a week or so, I can still feel that my lungs have more capacity to hold
Hmm.
oxygen. Um,
And it helps your brain functioning too. I mean, it's amazing. And I find I'm like breathing out like, just
yes,
to push it all out. And it sounds bad.
yeah,
It doesn't sound healthy, but it is.
yeah. And I've been having cold showers as well, like not for the whole shower, but
Ooh.
because I've been doing a lot of self massage and lymphatic massage. Because I realised quite a while ago that my lymphatics were sludgy. That was the word. Um, and yeah, fascia as well. I'll move on to fascia in a second. But so not the whole shower, but have it warm to start with,
Mhm.
and then turn it to cold for the last couple of minutes. Um, and I find I haven't yet got my hot water bottle. Normally I get my hot water bottle in bed like early, but I haven't done that. So it feels like it's actually, and it's not as much of a shock since I started doing it. When I turn it down, it's not as much of a shock. And I sing when it's, I, because singing stimulates your vagus nerve, and it's your vagus nerve that gets activated, you know, into your fight flight when something like cold happens. So when you sing, you're actually stimulating your vagus nerve. And, you know, doing long notes, it's like
Perfect.
breath work where your out breath is longer than your in
Mhm.
breath. it immediately slows things down. It immediately turns off, you know, your fight flight and puts you more into rest and digest, into your parasympathetic nervous system,
which is what's being activated with all the fear.
exactly.
It's right. Oh, you have to hear this. Okay. Haha, did this from Robin. Did the Wim breathing technique in the pool one time, and the lifeguard jumped in to save me because he thought I was not breathing. Decided not to try that in public anymore. I love her. And okay, and Noelle, my dear friend Noelle said, tried the cold shower net, not, but I do use a cold washcloth to clean my face in the morning. So, well, the Wim Hof thing is, again, it's a really interesting information where it allows you to see how powerful you really are. I mean, we're so accustomed to all the creature comforts, and there's so many people in the world that don't have them, and they're still very happy. In fact, they may be happier. So it's amazing what people do. I was up at Mount Shasta with this beautiful group of beings, and 2 or 3 of the guys went barefoot in the snow.
Wow.
Doing Wim Hof. They were young. They were in their 20s, late 20s. But still, it was like, wow. I mean, that's what the pioneers of all of the world, they had to have been a lot tougher than us.
And not necessarily the whole shower, like, you know, that can be quite brutal to do the whole shower, but it's really good for you. In fact, it's to have it hot and then for it to go cold. But there's something like, when I was living in Australia, there were quite a few occasions where, and it's different obviously because it's hot, but I might have had like a nature shower. So you might be at some amazing waterhole and, you know,
do it.
Get naked, stand under there. And when it's really, really hot and you get these massive downpours of rain, it's incredible. I mean, your clothes just get wet within a few seconds anyway. So, you know, depending, not when you're in the middle of town, but if you're out somewhere in nature, you might as well take them off. And just that refreshing.
Right.
And I did manage to do it one time in my garden this year as well. Like, I had the hose pipe. And actually, yeah, I did it once with the hose pipe, but once there was this incredible downpour of rain, and I'm like, oh, I have to. And I think that's what the cold shower reminds me of too. It's like, I can pretend that I'm at a waterfall. I can pretend that I'm out in a beautiful place in nature. I do have a very vivid imagination, but it really does get easier. It's only for a few seconds. And what I tend to do is leave my feet to the end, so I've got something to do. If I'm just standing there, not doing anything, I'll be more aware of how cold it is. But if I'm just washing my feet, you know, by the time I've put one foot down, I'm like, oh, it's not bothering me anymore.
That's amazing. That's amazing. My daughter was in the Peace Corps for 3 years in Namibia, which is Africa, so it was warm. But she did bucket showers for the whole 3 years, just about. So I know it can be done, and I went to visit her, so I know it can be done. but so okay, so let's go back to the opportunity to work with you to either be on your Love Speaks Love show, which is like my show, but it's do you want to talk about Love Speak Love a little bit? And then I'd love for people to see your art, and if you want to do any light language, you could.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Okay.
I'd love to. Yeah, so Love Speaks Love has been going for 2 years now.
Wow.
It was the Love Speaks Love birthday last week, I think. And I didn't have an overall vision before I started. It was just the nudge to do it. And I'm feeling into whether or not it's going to change a little bit. I'm enjoying having more than one guest on. Yeah. And it might be that we start, I know there's, I kind of want to get a couple of people on and maybe do a few link to the elementals and link to the fairies, and get people to share their experiences of that. Often it is people that do light language, but it's not exclusive of that. It just happens to have been that way. And I really enjoy, like we did last week, having a purpose for the activation as well. So to kind of get people on and do some activating with that, with the light language as well. It's normally every week, but this year it hasn't been every week because I've really been honoring myself, and sometimes when I'm going through it, just not actually putting a show on, not making myself do it because I feel I have to. I think that's really important that we kind of, tune into ourselves, and I tend not to book it really far in advance. I actually know next week I've got 2 guests next week, probably next Wednesday or maybe Thursday if something happens with one of them on Wednesday. But that's quite unusual for me to do it even a week in advance, because I just can't. My linear in time just isn't really working for me. So it tends to be, I'll remember at the weekend, I haven't got anyone booked yet. So kind of do it, it tends to be quite short notice. But I have done, I think it's 105 shows, 106. So it has balanced out at being like, one a week. And I love doing it. I love talking to people. I love to just be in conversation with people. So
yes,
that's Love Speaks Love. And the light language, that's really interesting how that's changing. So you had Suzanne on earlier this week, and we do a lot of work together as well.
Yes.
And we work similarly too. So it's very easeful when we do stuff together. But our codes are quite different in lots of ways. Like, Suzanne has studied doing art. I haven't, so mine kind of come from a different place. And when I do light language, it's like a written version of what I've been doing with my hands, and I think I said this before when I've been on. It's like I'm weaving energy into my field, and if you're in resonance with that and you're with me, either even just from sitting watching it, then if your body wants it, then it will be attracted into your body. So a lot of what I put on the paper is kind of what I do with my hands in the air. Some of it is like kind of written light language, but a lot of it is more of an activation. So it's the way energy can kind of come through. If that makes sense.
Well, that's why I want them to experience your work, because just the interaction is an upgrade, I think.
Yeah. Unless you don't want it, and no one's forcing anyone to
of course,
to take it. So these are the ones that are behind me on the wall. And this one came through while I was in Glastonbury, and I absolutely love this code. I've worked more with this code than any other code. I'm just going to bring it down so you can still see my face.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
So this one's really interesting. So this came from an original code that I did for Sifu Boggy, and he is a Tao master. He's been studying Chinese medicine and Qigong and Tai Chi for years and years and years. And this was a really fun code to bring through. So I ended up, while I was in Glastonbury, mirroring the original code that I'd done for him, that I then put through a few filters and colours and lights. So that's what this is. But I see a lot of stuff in this. So I kind of, this is really hard to do when it's opposite. I see like, let me just do it from there. I see like a sword.
Right. I do too.
I think, yeah, going all the way down, and these can represent your chakras. Like, to me, that represents the heart.
Oh, okay.
But I see this as spinning too. So this code for me, when this one came through, and I've been using this in my own healing as well, in my own, and the words that I got for this were that it is helping distortion to fold in on itself. And when I've worked on people's bodies or my own body, I'm often pulling things out. But what I realized, because we have the whole universe inside, is I don't actually need to pull it out for the universe like that, that I can actually dissolve it inside.
Right.
So those were the words that I got, that things are like folding in on themselves. Because I was asking for something, because I was spending so many hours, working on distortion in my body so that the energy flows more freely.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, this is just taking too long. Is there a way that I can make this quicker? Do more together at the same time. So that was when this code came in, and that was what I got for it. And I see it as spinning too. Yeah. And I see it like they're moving, they're living, breathing kind of entities, really. This is like a snapshot of, it's like a snapshot of something that's alive and that is moving. So these circles in the middle, I see these as like they're rippling out to the edges. I work with the diamond light codes, so there are always diamonds in my codes. That's always a big part of it. And Sifu Boggy said, when one of the reasons why he really likes my codes is because that's how he sees energy.
Right.
And I do too, really. That, I see them as moving like this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's that one.
Could you explain a little bit about the diamond light codes? Because there's that terminology is used a lot by people, and it seems like everybody has a different meaning for it.
When I've read up on this, I read that there was something to do with the 22 galaxies in our universe.
Okay.
That are shaped like a diamond.
Oh.
So there's that aspect of it. But I feel a lot of it feels like it's multi-leveled.
Right.
A lot of the work I do is with octahedrons. And when you look at them from a certain angle, they look like a diamond. So right. I think there's that in there too. There's also the energy of a diamond. The diamond is such a pure, it's multifaceted. It holds a lot of information. What else about the diamond light codes can I share? It just feels like it's a very high frequency of light.
Right.
And that it's, within those diamonds, it holds a lot of information, that there's a lot of stuff kind of packed in there. And it's felt like the energy has changed from when I first learned Reiki. It's felt like the energy's changed and it's got purer. And yes. The diamond light codes, I don't think we were ready for them, 20, 30 years ago. Right. But as we've evolved and we've kind of, we're ready for these purer forms of energy. So that's kind of the way that I see it, if that makes sense.
Yes, of course. I just thought, because when we talk about we're going from carbon based to crystalline, these diamond codes could be the portal for people to a path, a tool to use to get to the crystallines.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% there. And I feel, because I often see them as like crystalline octahedrons, maybe not diamond as such. And I'm never quite sure, like, when people talk about diamond light codes, are they saying diamond because it's a shape like that? Or are they saying diamond because it holds the essence of crystalline? And like you say, like going from carbon to crystalline.
Well, some people say that they don't see because they're seeing the spin, they don't necessarily see the 7 chakras or, you know, the 100 and something chakras, but they don't see them as separate. They see them all in the spin. And that's what that represented to me in your image, is that it's white light. It's our electric body, basically.
Yeah. And I think the energy centers are a way of the energy coming in. Like, it doesn't just come in through your crown. It comes in, you know, through all of your energy centers as well. And we've got little ones, you know, we've got them in all of our joints. We've got them in our fingers. We've got them in our hands. So, and to me, they've always felt like junction boxes. So where, you know, a few lines kind of meet, they'll create like a vortex of energy.
Perfect. Okay. So I wanted to, can I show your new art? If I can, let me get it back up here. Here we go. Okay. So this, is that okay? There we go.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak to this beautiful new art?
Yeah, so this one came, I've been kind of using an app to kaleidoscope codes, and this one felt like this is like a renewal code. And when I was tuning into 2022, the word that I got was renewal. And then when I was asking for more information, what I was told was it's more like anew rather than renewing. So it's bringing things in and shifting things so that they're anew, if that makes sense. So that I get a bit mesmerized by that.
Oh, I love it. I love the and the colors are sort of coming out here. They're not coming out as beautiful as they are because the circle around it has this white light, yellow, and when I had my white light experience, these 2 colors were in it. So and then when I've had my mandala made, it had the other colors in it. So I have to show you.
Yeah, so it looks very much like a mandala, you know.
It's beautiful.
And you can see it rippling. Like when you look at it closely, you can see that it's kind of like, you know, it's pulsing, it's rippling, and it's not static like the other codes. I wanted to mention, so something that's been happening this year for me is it's felt like I've got super long fingers, and it's felt like they're crystalline fingers. And when I did a session while I was in Glastonbury, it felt like these were coming online. And Nicola Russell said it feels like this is an aspect of you that's coming online, and I feel that. And I got a glimpse of this being last week, and it feels like she's very high frequency, like some dimension I don't even know where she's coming from, and she's kind of, her frequency is too high for me to embody, but it feels like she's coming in and leaving threads. It feels like her threads are coming in and being woven into my field. But I'm feeling that this is going to change sessions too. And for years it's felt like my fingers have been going into the body, like, you know, my hands might be on the outside or some distance away, but it's felt like they've been going into the body. But yeah, they feel really crystalline, and I've been getting this intense heat. I've always had heat in my hands from, you know, when I was first attuned to Reiki, but this is a different kind of heat. Like it's a white heat, and maybe it's a crystalline heat. Maybe I can call it that. But it feels like my sessions are changing with that.
Wonderful. I can't wait to, we keep going back and forth of me getting a session, so we'll have to do that pretty soon. Well, so when you're doing your sessions, are you also doing light language with it too?
Yeah.
Okay. And do you know, I asked Suzanne this, do you know what you're saying?
Not normally, because for me, when it first started coming in, it was for purposes of activation. So I was activating the land, the grids, and through that myself.
Right.
And when I started using it in sessions, things would instantly shift. You know, I mentioned before about pulling things out of the body. they just disappeared.
Right.
You know, I'd have like a gold cylinder of light around people, and I wouldn't have to pull things out. They just go up into the chute. And it feels with light language that it's maybe at least 10 times stronger when you bring the light language in. Like it because it holds so much information, and I'm often singing with it, toning with it as well, that it really just shifts and it brings things online. You know, if you're in resonance with that, your body will go, okay, so we can, this can come online now, and this can come online, and the crystalline light body is more embodied. So I started off doing it for activation purposes rather than conversation. So, and that kind of, that feels the same now as well. I can do it for conversation, but I don't really know what I'm saying. I've had light language conversations with people, but I haven't known what they've said, and I haven't known what I've said. But I'm just assuming that my higher self knows, even though Denise human might not.
Well, so my friend Joanne Palladino tells stories about how it started to come through for her, and she had no control. And at first it was like this kind of fun. It's like baby talk, you know, because when you're a little kid, you probably did it too, and then you forgot about it, and that zipped it up for school. And then she said all of a sudden she couldn't control when it would come out. But she is very aware of she translates it. So she'll say a phrase and then translate it. So that's why I'm so curious about how everybody does it.
And for me, you know, a room full of people, you could speak light language to them and they could all get a different message from it.
Right.
Because it's quantum in nature. And that's not wrong. It's not that any of the messages that anyone's picked up are wrong, but it's going to be different, or it could be different for everybody.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I met with this woman named Natasha, who's American Indian, but she's pure Arcturian. And she actually showed pictures of her Arcturian family. They were purple gamma rays and everything. But she, in the presentation that she gave, she had a clip of music where she said, when we come to you, we will not be speaking, we will be singing. And then they played a clip, and I just started crying. I mean, it was just so beautiful. It was like the fifth dimension, the dawn of Aquarius kind of tone and harmony. But it was not English. It was so beautiful. And so that always stuck with me. Like, I bet that's true. I bet that's why the indigenous always do drumming and singing.
Yeah.
And when in their prayers, they don't pray like we do in a church. So that's what I think it makes so much sense that the language is almost like song.
Yeah. Shall I bring some?
Yes, that would be great if you would. And there's wonderful comments. I wish I could read them all. Thank you all so much.
I will have a look at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. So I invite us all to bring our awareness to our heart space, first of all. Connecting in with the heart of Gaia, the heart of the sun, and the heart of the central sun. Source creator. And when I speak language, light language, there's often many frequencies coming through at once. So one of them might be more at the forefront than others. And I speak it with my hands too. Ke arnd korne kiabra lokit it oishtaralla. Ko le harad kiam prului titadaran makudli. Hal ekerno kortgadar de pop tutparatiki. Kekle kara de korona kortikorata kudla pakata. Ikele kiara ne korutla pakrantaki rutukutukta. Rutukata haradiki korata mai li rutukutun. Kalakiara na kiktor killa paratikutula ke tutulaketost. Halakila kiara no kuya ya la la ya ya. Hoya kuya la la la, kuya la ga la ya la la oi. Here the koran la mana kiti leki para tiki or tiki na ketu huti to ta 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 ta. Kala karatu kona karatu kuto kala pakiti to ta ta ta. Ukulera la kiara na kututi tuti ara na kui ulle kier na kut arat kutu ust arat kutu oyeta ta ko ora na harat kiti korat kiti kutu ta iklay ara na kutu kiti orat kutu kunya hishtara ni har na makorat ki urnu yeto ta nu yeto ta amana kut unni kiti ta ihle har na kutu ta miu dun la 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 ya 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 la ya 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 Pan etet at urni an olla kai et oist aran kokolea la yatana kiat ut oranaka a kele kiat ut onayat ut oya kolle kiast ta kokalakant ut orent et ta a Namasht arandikiat ut oyatana. Kollehiat ea nukut ea. Kulakashtana. Kikit ut oya. Tut ala. Kut ert ut orant ai. Kitot
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Wonderful.
So drink plenty of water, everybody. And if you can go to the trees, that's amazing. Because the trees are antennae, so they're bringing in cosmic frequencies, but they're also radiating out Gaia frequencies. And it also then goes into the mycelium network and, goes everywhere.
So Terry says, beautiful. Thank you, Denise. Okay. Ernie Day says, so beautiful. Thank you. So I'm sure there'll be more thank yous coming. Happy Christmas to both of you. Heart expansion. That's what I felt it. And I felt it in my third eye. Really felt it in my third eye. In fact, I'm feeling a little dizzy. More so than normal. Oh, thank you. Bless you so much. Thank you. So once again, how's the best way? I've been putting your banner up. What's the best way for people to reach you and contact you?
There's also Denise's Frequency of Love page as well, which is that's more my business page. I don't tend to get messages at Love Speaks Love.
Okay.
Because that's really just to show that, you can message me there or message me on my private page. I don't as yet have a website, but hopefully next year. That feels like it needs to be a priority for next year. And I do want to start getting some things printed, maybe starting with this one.
Oh,
this
yeah.
one I've had as a grid under my bed, and it's just been on the wall as well. So it's it feels like next year might be starting to get those things organized. I think my email is also on my personal page too.
Okay. Okay.
But Denise's Frequency of Love page, which is a bit of a mouthful. But that's
Okay.
my Facebook business page as well.
Denise's Frequency. Okay, so I'll put that on to. Oh.
And I do lots of group work as well. So, you know, once a month ish, I usually put something on. I work a lot with Merlin and Mary Magdalene, and there's been so many sessions with those two together. And at first I was like, that's a weird combination, but actually it works really well. And Merlin's been very present.
He's my buddy.
Yeah. I've realized, have I got time to just quickly tell
Sure,
this?
sure. We're a little over, but we're good.
Okay, so the other day I was kind of like going through it and shedding some tears and having a bit of a whinge to my my multidimensional aspects and calling them all in, calling everybody in, and Merlin was there too. And there were certain times of my life when I was really in despair, and this chap would appear in a dream, and I thought for a long time he was an angel when I started to get into angels, but I realized the other day that it was Merlin. And it just clicked. And he used to show himself in my dream. He'd have like this jacket on with like, you know, patched arms, and he looked kind of like a social worker, kind of like a geography teacher from the 70s with his beard. But whenever he appeared in my dream, I just used to be like, oh, it's you, and feel really comforted. And it was only the other day, so like 20, 30 years later, that I realized that it was Merlin all along.
Oh, isn't that wonderful? That's so wonderful. I understand that, and it's more and more is going to open up for all of us right now. Those of us that are ready to be in service to others. It's really a great opportunity to be here and to connect and to see what magic we can make. So, because
I do love doing one-on-ones. You know, I really enjoy the process. I wonder at some stage if I'll stop doing them, but I do really enjoy that process. And there's always a bit of visualization, take people on a journey. And it's not so much me doing things for them or to them, but it's a real collaboration.
right,
You know,
right.
it's us working together.
You're holding space for them to see themselves, really. Yeah. Being the celestial mirror that you are. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Kathy.
Oh,
It's
it's
been really
always
lovely.
a pleasure. I love you very much. Thank you so much.
I love you too.
Yeah. Sister from another mother.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Merry holiday. Merry Christmas. Hope it's delightful for you and your family.
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
thank you to everyone who's been watching too.
Yeah, please share.
Love.
Please share. We want to share this beautiful light language and love and the art everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you.